The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business. From $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate. I'm Tim Calloway. We have some very special guests for you today. Not one, but two guests from the Cleveland, Ohio area, Andy and Kelsey Wozniak. How are you guys?
Hey, we're good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I always like to pick a little bit. You know, as most of my listeners know, I'm from the Ohio area, Southern Ohio, but now I'm in West Palm Beach. But how's the weather up there?
Weirdly warm.
It was like 65 degrees yesterday. It was silly.
I looked at one point, it was 69 degrees yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super weird.
Yeah, it's confused.
Yeah, that didn't work. It's only 83 here, and I was
right. Yeah, no, it's not normal. It's definitely not normal. I think today's more in the 40s, so we're getting back down to where it's a little more normal.
Yeah, another 8 weeks at least. So
perfect.
But I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys. I'm not going to let you off the hook. I'm going to ask you guys the same thing I ask everybody. The first question: were both of you, either of you, the wonderful child of 5 years old, tugging on your parents' pant leg, saying, "Hey, what do I do, Mom and Dad?" Or were you like the rest of us, where we kind of fell back into it?
Yeah, hardly that. Kelsey, you want to do your part and then I'll jump in with my part?
Yeah. It's just a little bit of backstory. So I got licensed back in 2015, been licensed for about almost 7.5, 8 years at this point in time, going on 8 years, and built my business as a solo agent for the first few years. And really just, found some quick success with growing through, basically working as hard as I could, holding open houses, sphere-based, referral-based, all that fun stuff. Started a team, had a team for about 2 years. And in the midst of that, that's also when Andy came on board. That was we launched the team January 2020. Very quick version of the past 3 years of our life. Found out I was pregnant in January, had our first child in September of 2020. Andy came on board in the middle of all that. And then since dissolved that said team back in December of 2021. And it's now just the Andy and Kelsey show that we do on our own. And that is the past 8 years summed up right there.
That's awesome.
60 seconds or less. Look at that.
Wow. Right. Andy, add another 30 seconds. There's got to be side of the story a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was, when Kelsey was doing, getting her real estate career off the ground, I was in the music industry.
Nice.
So I did sales and marketing and whatnot for 3 different companies in the music industry. It was so much fun. I loved it. But what I noticed was that Kelsey was building something amazing local. And I was building something for other companies and other CEOs. And it wasn't just locally, it was nationally and internationally. I was responsible for different product lines in different international circuits and whatnot. And I was like, gosh, what Kelsey's doing is amazing. And I would love, I was creating something, but it was so spread apart that it was hard to get traction. And I watched what Kelsey was doing locally and I was like, God, that is amazing. I want to do that. So that's what I did.
Something for us and for our own family and, that you have ownership in a sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's like the American dream and it's right there, right?
That's it.
Right.
But I have to ask, and I wanted to make a little, I just see it. My wife and I have I've been married 32 years and we have worked together in different capacities at different times. And it's so funny when I go to her, can I work with you? Can I do that? Can I join? She's like, yeah, please. But was it always with EXP? Or did you start somewhere else and then migrate?
No. Yeah. So I started at KW when I first got licensed. And I was there. I took a little bit of time, I feel like in the first year and a half to try to just find my own feet and figure out where I needed to be. And unique story for me is I was at a boutique brokerage after KW for a short amount of time and just happened to be in the right room at the right time with the right people and had the opportunity of EXP presented to me before it was ever even in Ohio. So I was one of the first 5 agents to open Ohio for EXP back in 2017. So we're going on almost 6 years at this point. It was March of 2017 that we all launched EXP Ohio, number 9, number 8, something like that. So
yeah. It's amazing how fast it has boomed, right? I mean, just crazy. EXP is a phenomenal organization to work with and so many different opportunities. So let's talk about that a little bit. okay, so you focus retail in your community, but do you focus much on downline building or anything like that? Or how does that look, I guess?
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
primary stuff that we do is anyone that's with us, whether they want to tap in or not tap in, we're still here. We do coaching calls. We try and create community, either through education or just honestly just camaraderie. And we find that maybe not the entire group will tap in all the time, but the people that do tap in are like gung ho. And everyone that we talk to on various levels is just like, we just love it that there's like no competition. Like it just feels like when it comes to like information sharing and knowledge and how to help here and there, it's just so transparent. And that is what we've found in our organization. And I guess total transparency for us, our organization, real time is 55 agents. And it's been very good. It's been a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's nice. We'll get to your podcast here in a minute. I will ask about that, but I just would say, there was a time when you talked about competition in Keller Williams, maybe KW or anybody else, they all kind of fall under this. But there was a time when you couldn't get anybody to tell you how to do anything. I mean, literally, you would come in and they would say, there's a desk, there's a phone, use a phone. I don't know how you're going to do it, Tim, but good luck, and you were like,
that's kind of how it was even when I got started 8 years ago. I mean, it was the culture of this industry has changed so much just as an industry, not even just company wise, but yeah, it's totally different to be a new agent now.
For sure. So let's put our prognostication hats on a little bit before we get into your podcast and in the greatness of the area that you work in. But let's start talking about the future a little bit and what your vision board might look like, or at least your vision. What does the next 1, 3, and 5 years look like for your team, for you guys?
Yeah, that's always fun to talk about. For us, I think it's always pretty aggressive. And every time we put that out in the air, we're like, oh my God, did we really just say that? Like in a good way. Like will
come true.
Honestly, well, we hope. So it'll make sense if we go backwards first. We just bought our first short-term rental over the summer, and that is live, up and running on Airbnb. And I would say successful for everything that needed to be. So one of our goals, I feel like, is to buy a destination Airbnb or property, I suppose, in a 12-month a year kind of destination. Okay. And, kind of put one foot out there and put one foot in the water over here. So I think that's a big pillar post for us that we are trying to figure out how to make that happen.
I would say on like a life personal level, like I said, we have a 2-year-old at this point. He's between 2 and 2.5. And I would say for us, we want to be intentional with our time, and where we're spending it, being able to travel, having a short-term rental in a different, more destination location, or a few of them, is something that would help that for sure. But at the same time too, for us, really just focusing on like staying in our lane, building our real estate business. We did 69 transactions last year, and for Ohio, that equates to about 17 million compared to what it could in other markets. But for us, it's just about getting, fine tune on what we're doing with our processes, making sure that, we can continue to grow, but grow in a healthy way. And also focusing on continuing to grow our organization. That was one of the big reasons that we ended up going a different direction from having the standard traditional team. Was we were putting a lot of energy into a small group of agents versus, the larger group that we could actually focus on and create more of that, not passive, but residual income, at that point in time. Yeah. So just kind of staying down and going down that direction as much as we can.
Yeah, fantastic. I think it's very wise for sure. So we got a couple of things to talk about. First, let's extol the greatness of the area that you're in. And I guess it's the Southern Cleveland area or Cleveland area. Talk about that and, the community there and who's moving there and, what it looks like to work that area.
We live in a really unique part. So right between Akron and Cleveland, there is the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. And we are in the process. Kelsey, maybe inside of a month, I don't know. We're building a home, and it is literally like I can throw a baseball and hit the national park. So we're living right there, which is going to be amazing, like amazing. The road has been long, but we're going to be there. So our pocket, I would say, is a lot of people that have this outdoorsy kind of mindset, the people that are intentionally there, I should say. And I say intentionally there because it's also very easy to miss. If you're not like trying to be intentional and go to the park and go to the river or like mountain bike or whatever, you can just exist in Akron or Cleveland and do city life and just not even realize it's there. So it's a really cool dynamic.
That's awesome. You guys remind me of someone else at EXP. And at the end of the show, when the show's over, if you'll just hang on with me a bit, we'll talk about that person.
Yeah.
I can't connect you. You may already know them, but that's okay.
Nice. Let's do it.
Yeah. Kelsey, anything you have to say about the greatness of the Cuyahoga Valley, or
Yeah.
no, you're a
So
girl, you don't like the country? No, I'm kidding.
no, I actually grew up in Indiana. So I feel like my
Okay.
perspective on Ohio in general is a little different. Moving here, I was like, I mean, Andy was going to Youngstown State at the time. I was like, oh, it kind of just sucks here. Like, there's really nothing great. Like, this is okay. This is Ohio. And then I actually figured out. Yeah, right. No, but then, I mean, I really got into figuring out like really what Ohio was about, and realized that these parks are here. And for me and Andy, we obviously love to travel. We love to do the outdoorsy stuff. We were kind of at a crossroads. We almost moved to Colorado. Like, I don't know what, we were like 24 years old, 23 years old, something like that. And almost moved out to Colorado and just said, okay, we're going to do this, move out west, and ended up staying in Ohio. And I feel like that was one of the best decisions that we've made, just because we've put our roots down here and realized how great Ohio actually is. Like you really do have that kind of, you feel like you're in a sense, kind of in a mountain without being in a mountain, and you still have all the other. What's nice is for someone who's looking to move here, invest here, you have Ohio pricing, you have Ohio, cost of living is obviously a fraction, compared to Colorado or really anywhere else, I feel like, in the United States. So I feel like that's just really helpful, for someone who's looking to be here.
I agree. I was talking to Matt Williams out of Dayton,
Okay.
and he was just talking about small world. So I went to high school, at least a couple of years of high school, a couple of years of middle school in Fairfield, Ohio, right north of Cincinnati.
Mhm.
He's like, that's where my wife went to high school.
That's funny.
That's
It's
funny.
so weird because,
Right.
we're both in our 50s, and he's like, you probably actually could have gone to school with my wife. And it was like just random, he's an icon. So he made it on this. And as we were talking about it, I was almost like, just reminiscing.
Right.
Just how great the people are. It's a different. I live in West Palm Beach, Florida. It's a little different.
Mhm.
It is a great community. It's a great area, and putting your roots in there, it's a different way of life.
Mhm.
It is. A lot of people don't know that, so definitely
Right.
should at least give it a try. At least go through and see that part of the country.
Yep.
So let's talk about your podcast a little bit. Obviously, me being a podcast fan, doing 300 plus of them a year, I'd love to hear about your podcast.
So it's
Don't
funny.
all talk- come
I
in
know,
here.
right? I was like, I don't know who's going to jump on this one. So we kind of had this idea, I would say years ago, to start a podcast, and kept just like, I don't know. Like, what are we going to talk about? What we're going to do. And it just came to us that the podcast, it naturally came about. It's called the Bigger Life podcast. And for us, it's all about helping. At the time when we first started it, we weren't super clear on like, who are we talking to? More just like kind of broad. And since then we've really realized, like, obviously our target, audience is an agent. It's a realtor. It's someone who's in this field to some extent, or at least an entrepreneur, so really just talking about living your bigger life, like creating a life that you actually enjoy, that you want to have, that you look back and you can say, I did the most of my life that I possibly could. Because I think life has changed. Life is so much faster these days. Even just when you look at like the pace of life. And I was just listening to a book the other day, specifically talking about this. And it's just the idea that like our parents' generation or our grandparents' generation, they were all happy with being able to live at a slower pace and, go about life like that. Well, that's not how it is anymore. And so if you're not careful, it's going to go by super fast. And the idea of waiting until you're retired to live your life is kind of a thing of the past.
Yeah.
It's like, we've got to create ways to live our life as we're going, because also who knows what's going to happen in 20 years, in 5 years, tomorrow, who knows? So it's the whole idea of just getting way more intentional with your life and creating that bigger life. So Andy, how'd I do on that one?
That was it, man. We started that thing so blind, like, okay, here we are talking in two different rooms of the house into a microphone. I hope it works. Will someone listen, please?
It will, man. I mean,
it's been fun.
Yeah, you got the right energy, and I don't know if you get guests on the show or how you do it, or you just, debate, whatever it might be.
Yeah, a little both.
A little of everything. But I always say, I tell everybody, because we also produce podcasts for others, right? And I always say, I don't care what you talk about. There's billions of people on the planet.
Yep.
Right.
I'll find you a few thousand at least that will listen to you.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no doubt about it. And you two, full of charm, full of charisma, full of, life and energy. There are, I'm sure, millions of people that would look forward, and just keep it up, keep it up. Sure. Well, we're kind of winding down on time, but we're not done. But so why don't you guys tell me, how do we get in touch? If somebody wanted to list, somebody wanted to buy, someone needed a short term, hey, maybe somebody wants to join your team. How would they get in touch with you?
I would say the easiest way at this point in time is on any of the socials. Just look up Real Estate with Woz.
Okay.
Super simple.
W-O-Z.
W-O-Z, Real Estate with Woz. And you'll find all of our contact information there. We've got our link trees, everything else. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the easiest way to get in touch with us.
Fantastic. So I'm going to allow both of you, everyone, I give everybody the opportunity to do so. I'm going to allow both of you to do two separate ones, put you on the spot. So I always say you guys are the hit record. Now I'm really going back in time because most people don't know what records are. So you guys are the hit record. I'm the DJ. You guys obviously icons. Each of you give me, a minute or two on the way out as something positive, either on your mind, your heart, your soul, that you would like to share with everybody. And either one of you can go first.
Go, Andy.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like I've talked a lot already.
Gives her a minute to think about it.
Right?
Oh man.
He says, and then go off that.
Man, I can't quick draw. I don't have anything.
All right,
I
can quick draw.
Get it.
I can quick draw.
I know you can.
So I would say for anyone who's looking to be an icon agent or, isn't there yet, I would say my biggest piece of advice, we have at this point in time 5 icons and going on number 6. It's been a few years. The first one is the hardest. Once you get through that first one, trust me, it gets easier every time that you do it. But I would say the biggest thing is just keep focus and make sure that you're always putting your clients first. Is when you start to get transactional with it, when you start to really focus on the icon award and the transaction amount and all of that, it starts to become way less fun. And it starts to really wear you out. And I feel like that's when you start to get the burnout in this business. It's no small feat to get to the icon award. And for us, Northeast Ohio pricing, it takes a lot more transactions for us to get there too. So, been there, but I would say just keep your focus on doing the right thing and it will happen for you. You just have to keep doing that. That's my thought.
Nice.
That was very good. I think mine is, I've said it a handful of times, is that I think real estate is one of the best kept secrets as far as a profession can go. Yeah. And I do honestly really love what I do. I used to like what I did and I liked different parts of I would be at a lot of live events and I really liked that. But so much of the work that I did was stuff that I don't know, I just didn't always love. In this, I feel like you can put yourself in a situation to really love what you do more often than not. And kind of the same, but this is not a 9-to-5 job. You don't have to work it like a 9-to-5 job. So really getting intentional with how you're spending your time, I think would be something that I would highly encourage any agent to just kind of audit their time, because we can enjoy a lot of our time and work our butts off and have it kind of be a little bit harmonious and still make the life that we want, make the income that we want, and enjoy our time. And we don't have to just be stuck behind a desk for 8 or 9 hours a day. Just really kind of auditing your time and balancing your time.
No, I love it. Sage advice from both of you. Andy, Kelsey, Wozniak, a stone's throw away from the Cuyahoga National Park. Thank you so much for being on the program. I'd love to catch up with you over the next 3, 6, 9 months and see how things are going. I don't know if you guys are going to be down in Orlando in May for shareholder or not, but definitely love the opportunity to get a chance to meet you then if you are. If not, maybe another time. But thank you so much for being on the program.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right. You guys have a great weekend.
Thank you too.